Us creatives, we're all guilty of one wonderful weakness: collecting art that inspires us. Tons of it. But the problem is, as much as we love all this inspiration, we don't actually learn from it. Even though it's a joy to look at and it fills us with admiration, we're often left feeling like we could never create something so beautiful ourselves. In the worst case, we're held back by the belief of, I just can't make great art like this. But what if that belief is completely untrue? What if you had a simple process to learn the magic behind your favorite art? Today, let's explore the strange experiment method for becoming a creative sorcerer supreme. The good news is that this first step is really easy. It's what we're all already great at: saving the inspiration we find. Whether it's snapping a photo while we're out and about, preserving an image we stumble on online, or buying a treasure we discovered in a local shop, the first thing to do is to save the inspiration so that we can refer back to it later. With the saved reference, the next step is to really examine it and ask, what specifically do I love about this? We want to list or tabulate all the traits that stopped us in our tracks when we first saw the art. Here are a few examples of things you might note. I've included a bunch more in the free guide you can download at blackletterfreebies.com, but remember, it's your list, so write down anything that stands out to you. Now, I want to mention here that there may be some traits you can't quite put your finger on. That's totally okay. For now, just list the things you can identify and trust that as you grow, your powers of observation and deduction will too. In fact, this very thing happened to me. It took me years to figure out one particular technique that I now really love. If you're curious, I talk about it and explain how to do the effect in Procreate in this video. But in the meantime, let's jump ahead to the next step. Step 3 is to refine our list and restrict our focus to just one trait to experiment with. It's important to pick just one because it gets really easy to get distracted and overwhelmed if we take on too much. Here's an example of this process. Looking through some of my favorite comic art, I found I was particularly drawn to the uninked pencil versions of the drawings and restricted my list down to one particular texturing or shading technique to focus on. So find just one focused thing you'd love to learn, commit to spending a little time with it, then move on to step 4. Before we jump ahead though, I do want to mention that the thing you pick here might be simple, like using a different kind of paper or tool. Or it could be way more involved, like experimenting with watercolor painting when you've never tried that before. So the next steps we'll talk about may go fast or take longer depending on what you pick, but it's totally okay to pick something simple. This is the step that's really easy to get lost in, especially when looking around on social media sites that want to endlessly consume all our attention. That's why it's important to stay focused here and why we refined our focus to just one thing in the last step. The mission now is to put on our researcher hats and acquire information on the one technique we're trying to learn. Check if the artist who made the original work in step 1 has any tutorials, books, or lessons out there. Try to track down any resources you can find on that one thing you picked. Using the example I mentioned before, I was really lucky. The artist I like has a YouTube channel where he's shared tons of tutorials and did a bunch of live streams showing how he makes amazing comic art. This is pretty awesome, but there's a catch to having so much incredible content to learn from. It's really easy to get wrapped up endlessly watching one tutorial after another, sort of feeling like we're learning stuff without ever actually applying any of the knowledge. That's why it's critical to stay focused here. Remember, we're only looking for information that can help us learn that one specific thing we picked. So once we've acquired some information, we're ready for the next step. Next, we embrace learning the skill as a novice, following along with the tutorials or references we found in the last step. We're excited to take on the challenge of trying something new. We don't expect overnight miracles or success. We have patience with ourselves as we practice and learn to replicate the technique the best we can. Take your time with this step, but also don't feel like you have to spend forever here. Perfection isn't the goal. There's no such thing. Familiarity is. Once you've built up some comfort with the skill, believe in yourself and that you're ready to move on. Step 6 actually goes hand in hand with step 5. While you're learning, check in with yourself here and there to gauge how things are progressing. The goal here isn't to be overly critical and hard on yourself. Give yourself some credit and acknowledge what's going well while also recognizing opportunities to improve. You can even use these check-ins to find the milestone where you celebrate that you're ready to move on to the last exciting step. Just a quick pause here to say thank you for supporting the channel. Whether you're ready to learn to make awesome calligraphy art by hand or using digital tools like Procreate, your purchases of any of the toolkits in my shop are what make it possible for me to keep creating this content. This also includes signing up to get the free calligraphy starter kit at blackletterfreebies.com, which also includes the brand new guide I mentioned earlier that'll walk you through the strange learning process in more detail. Even just liking the video and subscribing is a big help, so thank you for supporting my content in any of these ways. Now, let's get right back to the next step. This is where the real magic starts. Step 7 is to execute the new technique creatively in your own work. We're taking off the training wheels here. It's time to trust in yourself that you're ready to use what you learned to create something entirely your own. It can be in a style similar to the original art that kicked off this whole process, or you can experiment and use it for something totally different. For example, I started experimenting using the hatching technique I mentioned earlier in fun new letter designs instead of comic book superheroes. Also, apply step 6 here too, recognizing what's going well and opportunities to keep improving while you play with the technique. You may even want to pop back to step 5, practice some more, and then come back to step 7 again. Just enjoy the process and have fun, acknowledging that you're learning and growing and that you're adding an awesome new tool to your creative utility belt that you'll be able to use in your future work. Hang out in this step as long as you're feeling that excitement and growth. Then eventually it'll be time to move on to the real final step. Yeah, there's actually one more. When you're feeling comfortable with your new skill and you're ready to move on, first, throw yourself a little celebration for what you've just accomplished. You just took an element from the beautiful art that motivates you and learned how to apply it in your own creations. That's pretty awesome. Step 8 is a little choose your own adventure. Remember step 2 where we built the list of traits that we love? You can go back there and either pick something else, or what's really cool now is you might have learned some stuff throughout the process that lets you add new traits to the list. Add anything you want, then pick another item and go back through the process again. Finally, you can also go all the way back to your probably massive library of inspiration, pick a totally new piece of favorite art, and start the entire process again. You'll still have your first list that you can always come back to, but you can build a brand new one for the new art and unlock even more creative magic. The best part of this is that you now have a way to turn your favorite art into a lifetime of learning and growth. The process is also a great way to break out of routines and plateaus. It'll always be there to give you endless ideas for exciting experiments to try. I've been using and tweaking this process for years, and here are some examples of how the growth adds up over time. Actually, if you're interested to see an example of step 8, where I experimented with combining graffiti style lettering with Gothic calligraphy, you can follow along with this tutorial here. In the meantime, keep writing, keep playing, and have an absolutely fantastic day. I'll see you next time.